Yo, what up guys? Sammy Lee here from the Soul Brothers, and today we're going to be doing a quick comparison of the PG2 and the PG3s. So let's get it started right with the traction. The traction pattern is very different. So in the PG2s you had this kind of like very thin lines, and it reminds me of like a flower or a cactus flower or something like that. And the traction was pretty good. It's just that it wasn't great, you know, like not the craziest stop. And also the durability was really bad, especially in the translucent colorways. Like the Palmdales and my PG 2.5s, I had to return those because the actual rubber ripped off. Like there was a lot of fraying, like all over the entire outsole. And not only the fraying, but it did rip off. Like some parts did rip off. And so I had to return those, but for some reason my solid colorways are a lot more durable, so I just keep these. But yeah, that was one big issue with the PG2s, is just the durability really wasn't good. The PG3s, you know, we do have circles. I thought the durability was going to be bad, you know, especially coming from the 0.2. The Why Not 0.2 was actually really soft and it did fray a lot, but the rubber is actually a lot thicker. As far as like the perimeter of the circle goes, the rubber is a lot thicker there, and also pretty deep. Because looking at the close-up macro shot of me trying to move the rubber, it's actually not easy to move it. So it's actually pretty hard. So I think durability is going to be a lot better than the two. You know, stopping power, it's squeaky. I played it once yesterday, but it seems like it has a really good stop. I'm just worried about dust and how the performance is going to be on dust. But yeah, I feel like the PG3 is an overall improvement because, you know, it stops a little bit harder, or a lot harder, it feels like, on a clean court. And durability seems like it's good as well. So just because of that, I feel like it's already an improvement, which I am very happy about, because that was one thing I really didn't like about the PG2s, was the traction. Moving on to the cushion. The cushion is exactly the same as far as the zoom unit goes. It is a zoom unit in the forefoot. I'm not sure if it's the exact same unit as far as like the PG1 was a bottom loaded zoom unit. The PG2 was like a unit that took the space of the entire midsole, and I'm thinking and I'm guessing that it is the same exact unit as the PG2s. But one thing that is different is the cushion, the foam. So the PG2 was a really stiff phylon. There was really no heel compression, and if you did a heel strike, you felt it. It was just super hard. But the PG3, they said they use a softer foam, and it actually is a lot more compression if you look at the video. And it's a lot softer, it feels like, so that is a welcome change. And just because of that, it makes it an overall better cushion setup, and it makes the heel to toe transition a little bit smoother. You know, impact protection, you know, improves, and you still have a nice forefoot zoom unit. So there's that. And also the insole I feel like is around the same. Yeah, the insole is nice in both of them, pretty damn thick. It feels like an ortholite insole, so stepping comfort is actually pretty nice. Moving on to the materials. The materials in the PG2 were actually pretty nice. Definitely not the most premium feeling materials in hand, but I feel like it's a lot softer right now. I mean, the PG3 obviously isn't broken in, but it feels a lot more plasticky and a little bit more glued down in the PG3s, and a lot more like cheap. You know, it feels pretty damn cheap in hand for the PG3s. It might be just this colorway, because looking at other pictures, especially like the PG3 BHM, and you know, zooming into the materials, it's actually like a different pattern, it looks like. So it might be just this colorway. We're not 100% sure. But as of just like feeling it in hand, the PG2 feels a lot better. Especially like in the toe, the synthetic material just feels like really cheap as well. But on foot, like they're both thin, you know, and it conforms to your foot pretty well. So on foot, they both feel pretty nice. You do have the wings. They kept the wings from the PG2, and basically it's basically the same shape. Obviously, probably does the same exact thing as well. The purpose of having these wings is to make the support better, especially for louder containment. So they kept the wings there. One thing that they did change though is the PG2, it has a tongue. You know, like it's not a traditional tongue, but it does have a tongue. The PG3 is more of like a one booty. Like the tongue is actually attached to the upper. It doesn't really go underneath the upper, which, like, you know, traditional tongues do. which is an interesting design, but it doesn't really affect anything. It feels pretty much the same. Another thing that they did change is that the PG2 is double layered in the ankle area. I don't know why they did that. It does make the materials a lot thicker and stuff like that, but in the PG3 they got rid of all that and it's just one material that comes up. So that does obviously decrease the weight, which is good, and also feels a lot more minimal in this area as well. But yeah, the overall material, like the suede, is actually pretty nice in the PG2s, you know? The suede and then the overall material in the toe. But the PG3, I mean, the materials, I don't know if it's just this colorway, it just feels a lot cheaper and a lot shittier. So overall materials, I do like the PG2s better. Moving on to the fit is basically the same. So whatever size you were in the PG2s, you should probably go in the PG3s. It's slightly narrow, pretty damn tight, so watch out if you're a wide footer. But for me, I like to have a pretty tight and snug fit, so it's really good for me. So yeah, fit is pretty much the same there. Moving on to support and lockdown. Support and lockdown, I feel like is going to be good in both. One thing I did notice is that the PG2 does have a really sharp outrigger. Like it's a really pronounced one. The PG3 doesn't really have that. You know, it's more like flat. But, so that did worry me a little bit. But I did look at the width of the actual like shoes, and they're both pretty much the same. I'd say the PG2 is like half a centimeter wider, but that really makes no difference. One thing that I do miss from the PG2 are these really nice Achilles pillows. You know, the PG2 had really thick, very plush Achilles pillows, but the PG3 doesn't really have any Achilles pillows. You know, there is a little bit of a lip, and you know, they do use a little bit of foam in the heel, but it's not as pronounced as the PG2, so I do miss that a little bit, but that's just a little minor gripe. Moving on to the weight, so one thing that Tony Hardman, the designer, said that they did is that they shed off 1 ounce from the PG2, or maybe it was the PG 2.5, I'm not sure. The PG 2.5 is a little bit heavier because of the strap, but it really wasn't that big of a deal. So let's actually weigh it and see which one it did really shed off an ounce. So the PG2 is 12.24 ounces, and the PG3 is 11.98 ounces. So basically 12, so 0.2 ounces. That is definitely not 1 ounce. But I think that has something to do with like my size. Maybe, you know, once you get into the bigger sizes like PG, I think he's a size 14 or something like that. The weight in the shoe, you know, differs a lot more drastically, so maybe the 0.25 ounces or whatever does translate into bigger sizes as 1 ounce. I'm not sure, but it definitely is lighter, obviously, in weight, and it feels a little bit lighter as well. Like the materials in the toe, I feel like is the same thickness, but you can definitely feel that it is a lot more minimal and a little bit lighter in the ankle area. So it does feel a little bit more minimal in that aspect, and I do like that. That is a little bit of an improvement. But the PG 2.5 or the PG2, it wasn't a huge deal. Like, it was still a minimal shoe. So alright, moving on to the aesthetics. Yeah, I definitely do like the PG2 better. I really don't like the reverse swoosh on it. But other than that, I feel like the overall silhouette right now, I feel I like the PG2s. The PG3 definitely is growing on me because, you know, I've been seeing the shoes that Paul George has been playing, like the BHM colorway, the black and white colorway and stuff like that. So it kind of is growing on me, but yeah, this colorway definitely isn't helping the case. Tell us what you guys think looks better down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, the initial comparison, it feels really similar to the two. You know, like the overall cushion setup, the materials and all that, it feels the same. But I feel like the PG3 did improve a little bit. Like, it does feel a little bit more minimal. Traction seems better. The cushion, definitely the foam feels better as well. I feel like they did, you know, take the two and make little minor improvements to the shoe, which is good. You know, I'm not sure if they improved on the aesthetic side of things, but definitely performance side of things, I feel like they did improve a little bit. The PG3 is $10 more expensive. The PG2 I think was 110 bucks. The PG3 is 120 bucks. But yeah, that's the initial comparison. Versus video will be coming soon, as well as the review. But yeah, I am happy with the PG3 right now as far as performance goes. But that's it. That's the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.